Welcome to the Dating Kinky podcast and vlog. We're all about love, sex, romance, and kink. I originally wrote about this in September of 2018, and I've brought it up over and over again because the message never gets old, and I think it's important to stress the idea yet again. When it comes to those who grew up in abusive households, those who didn't just can't fully understand without a little bit of help. The language of survival, the language of trust. Each of us has a language of survival that we create as we grow up. We have a language of trust as well. In some, the language of trust has a huge vocabulary and covers many varied situations. We, are the lucky ones. Content warning, mentions of abuse. In some, the language of survival is the strongest, most nuanced, and pervasive language they understand. A Tumblr conversation. Eric fucking Harris says, "Growing up in an abusive household is a trip, dude. If you've never had someone angrily wash a dish at you or fold a sock in your direction, then how are you going to understand why I get nervous when you quietly do the laundry? Or why I ask, are you mad at me when you set the bag of groceries down too hard?" It's a totally different way of living, and it impacts you long after you've left the situation. So This Is Therapy says, this is so important. Infinite Rage Quit says, abused kids speak a language you can't learn. New Vagabond says, my heart races when I hear someone sigh, and then the adrenaline takes forever to wear off. I hate having these reactions, even when I know I'm safe. To See Me Like That says, I didn't realize reacting like this wasn't normal. Suicide Is My Father says, I'm not overreacting. My reactions are adequate to what I'm used to. People don't get it. This conversation clearly shows the deleterious effects of languages of survival. And as New Vagabond points out, even knowing intellectually that they are safe is not enough. The language of trust in their head is too small to overpower the survival mechanisms they've developed. And if you live in love, you will meet these people. Perhaps you are these people. And you could, if you choose, help them create their language of trust by offering your own to them and being a safe space. Here are a few ways. Validate them. This doesn't always mean saying you're right. Instead, showing that they have the right to feel the way they feel. This means accepting and loving them for their fears as well as for their strengths. Reassure. Speak to them of your okayness with their concerns. Understand that this is not personal. It's not you. It's survival reactions to past lived experiences. And also understand that as you hold your space safe for them, you are creating a language of trust with them as well. They know and hope they are safe with you, or they wouldn't choose to be with you to put themselves in harm's way. Their survival brain, though, doesn't feel it. Like when you are safe at home, maybe alone, and a pan drops suddenly in the kitchen and you jump because, what the fuck? And it takes a while for your heart to slow down. Instinct. It's a bitch. A few years ago, I wrote a piece about communication breakdowns when partners aren't safe. I think that's also a good reference to read. It talks about how we can add to their language of survival, even often without realizing the damage we're doing. How do you create your language of trust with your partners? Or, on the flip side, how does your language of survival affect you and your relationships long after the original behaviors that created it have passed? I wrote about this in my book, Understand Me Now, and that's in order. Communication for relationships, including ethical non-monogamy, kink, and BDSM. I'll put a link in the description, so you can go read a 50-page sample if you'd like. Thank you for joining me today. If you loved this episode, please share it with others who would enjoy it. And please do join me at datingkinky.com. It's built by kinksters, like me, for kinksters, poly, queer, trans folk, and anyone not quite vanilla. And it's free. Find me on FetLife as Nookie Notes, and on Twitter, Pinterest, YouTube, Facebook, and Medium as Dating Kinky. We're on Instagram as Dating Kinky Official, all one word. Have a kinky day, and I'll catch you next episode.